Rationalism versus empiricism. These two names refer to the two most important philosophical schools of thought in the 17th century. They're also known as the coherence theory versus the correspondence theory. And the person we see here is nobody less than René Descartes, one of the most important, influential thinkers of early modernity in Europe. Born in France in 1596, he was not only a philosopher, he was also a scientist, a mathematician, a thinker in general. And he wrote several treatises trying to define what the true source of knowledge, the way in which we can access to truth and certainty. He proposed that it was reason. And probably one of his most celebrated and well-known statements is cogito ergo sum, which in Latin means I think, therefore I exist. The proof that I exist, the evidence that there is a body alive, that we are here, is that we can conceive of that we can think. So the ultimate source of the truth is reason. If we are able to think, that means we're here. Our consciousness is our guarantee that this world is not an illusion. Using reason, Descartes designed a whole building of ideas in which he basically talked about the possibility of finding the truth through reason, through relating ideas one to each other. His famous book, Discourse on the Method, published in 1637 first, was widespread all over Europe. It had enormous influence in the development of some other rationalist and idealist trends. A generation later, British philosopher John Locke, born in 1632, meaning like 36 years after Descartes, considered now the father of rationalism. John Locke is definitely one of the inspirers of Voltaire, Rousseau in the 18th century, of many Scottish Enlightenment thinkers, of even American revolutionaries. His contributions to liberal theory, to modern political thought, are also reflected in some of the statements of the United States Declaration of Independence, in the Declaration of Universal Rights after the French Revolution, and how a philosopher from the mid-17th century could have such a transcendence. Well, he based his proposal on the idea that truth, as opposed to Descartes' proposal, is not based so much in reason itself, but that reason, knowledge, truth can be reached through experience. Nothing that we know passes away from our experience, from our senses. The fact that we know that we're here is because we interact with the world. Our senses, our sense of smell, our sense of sight, our hearing, tell us that we exist, that we have a context, and that we should exercise that experience. That is why his school is called the empiricism, or the correspondence theory, and reach the truth through experimentation. Obviously, this opened the door to a series of adventures, explorations, scientific experiments, the development of what is now considered modern science in many ways, but also a modern way of political organization. There's no doubt that he is considered the father of liberalism because he follows the tradition of Sir Francis Bacon, another English thinker, and his writings contributed enormously to the development of modern epistemology, the science about science, the science that studies the rationality and the methods of science in general. Liberalism, the foundation of individual rights, the creation of a state that is conducted by reason and not by religious dogma. These are some of the great contributions that John Locke gave to the world. So, rationalism, Descartes, empiricism, John Locke are just two examples of the complexity of the 17th century thought, also considered the Baroque century.